Breaking news! The atmosphere is heating up behind the scenes at Patriots Nation. Today marks the final day of the draft, and tension is sky high. Scouts are scrambling, coaches are fired up, and the fans are holding their breath, waiting for that one pick that could change everything. Every choice now is crucial. Every move could be the difference between an ordinary season and eternal glory. Before we dive deeper, you know what to do. Smash that like button if you believe the Pats have what it takes to make it to the next Super Bowl. Honestly, I believe with all my heart. If you believe too, drop this in the comments. Go Pats! I believe! The New England Patriots just made a move that could quietly become a cornerstone for their defense, and it might not be the name you expected. With the 106th overall pick in the 4th round, the Patriots selected Craig Woodson, a safety out of the University of California. Now, right off the bat, you might be thinking, another safety? But trust me, there's a lot more brewing under the surface of this pick than meets the eye. The Patriots secondary has been in need of some reinforcement, and not just because of aging veterans. Last season, Kyle Duggar battled through injuries, and what we later learned was a misdiagnosed severe ankle injury that required surgery because the ligament had literally detached from the bone. Jabril Peppers, one of the leaders of the group, faced off-field issues that kept him sidelined. So while there's youth on the depth chart, there was a clear, pressing need for fresh, healthy legs in that safety room. Enter Craig Woodson. Woodson isn't expected to step in as a starter in 2025. Let's be clear about that. But he brings something the Patriots always value highly: versatility and special teams impact. With Woodson's background, it's easy to see him carving out a role on special teams immediately. This guy has fluid hips, agile feet, and an impressive feel for the game as it unfolds, traits highlighted by NFL analyst Tom Downey. He's not just athletic, he's smart, reading quarterbacks like the back of his hand and playing near the line of scrimmage with a level of instinct that you just can't teach. And here's the kicker. While he's productive around the line of scrimmage and a reliable backside chaser, he's also human. The knocks against Woodson mostly center on occasionally biting on quarterback fakes and getting beat by average route runners. That's why this pick screams development project. And that's exactly where the Patriots coaching staff, specifically Terrell Williams and Mike Vrabel, step into the spotlight. It's not about where Woodson is today. It's about where he could be in a year or two under the right mentorship. Looking deeper into his college production, you'll find a guy who posted 70 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss, 9 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions. Now, compare that to Christian Gonzalez, one of the NFL's young, elite cornerbacks, who had 11 pass breakups during his second full NFL season. The gap isn't as wide as you might think. Woodson is entering a locker room led by veterans like Duggar and Peppers, but if he connects with guys like Christian Gonzalez, Jalen Hawkins, Marcus Epps, and the rest of the secondary, there's a real shot he could evolve into a future starter. Now, big picture, this wasn't an isolated pick. Let's look at the Patriots' broader draft strategy so far. First-round pick Will Campbell addressed the offensive line, giving future franchise quarterback Drake Maye the protection he desperately needs. In the second round, they landed Trayvon Henderson, a powerhouse in pass blocking, a vital skill for balancing a young QB's offense. Then Kyle Williams, the athletic wide receiver, came aboard to boost the aerial attack. Jarrod Wilson at center followed, another reinforcement up front. Now, Craig Woodson becomes the first defensive player added on day 3. What does this tell us? It shows a clear, patient strategy from Elliott Wolf and Mike Vrabel, something we haven't always been able to say about Patriots drafts in recent years. Rather than reaching early for defensive needs, they built a foundation around their offense first, then calmly snagged a valuable defensive piece once the board fell in their favor. That's smart team building. Let's not overlook the Patriots' flexibility going forward either. Thanks to trades, including one with the Carolina Panthers, the Pats still have multiple picks lined up: 144, 146, and 171 in the 5th round, plus 2 more in the 7th. The name of the game right now? Depth, development, and strategic value. And don't be surprised if they swing another trade using that cluster of 5th-round picks. Tom Downey's best available board still has intriguing names lingering too, players like Elio Manor, the wide receiver out of Stanford, and Dylan Sampson, another backfield weapon. Some fans might wonder, why didn't the Patriots go after those bigger-name prospects instead of a depth safety? But the answer is clear when you zoom out. The Patriots know exactly who they are building around. With Drake Maye under center, it's all about protection, stability, and defense that can create opportunities. Think about this. Cam Skadebo was snatched by the Giants 1 pick before New England chose Craig Woodson. Could that have changed the course of round 4 for New England? Maybe. But what's more important is how they pivoted with discipline, sticking to their board, staying focused on real needs, and finding future contributors instead of reaching for flashy names. So where does this leave us heading into the rest of the draft? Personally, if I'm sitting in the war room, I'm pushing hard for an edge rusher next. Guys like Jack Sawyer might be off the board by pick 144, but there's value deeper down. Building out that pass rush to complement the secondary makes perfect sense, especially knowing you've now fortified your back end with a guy like Woodson. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you guys with this. Based on what we've seen so far, the Patriots draft deserves a solid A grade. They've addressed their biggest weaknesses with smart, calculated picks, not swinging for the fences, but consistently putting the team in a stronger position for the long term. Now it's your turn. Patriots Nation, what do you think about the Craig Woodson pick? Do you love the move for the future, or would you have gone in a different direction in round 4? Drop your takes in the comments below. I'm going to be breaking down the 5th round haul once those picks are in, so make sure you're subscribed and tuned in for all the updates. Let's hear it. Who should the Patriots draft next? Let's keep this conversation rolling all the way through to the end of the draft. And picking up right where we left off, let's dive even deeper into how this move fits into the Patriots' broader strategy, what it signals about the team's future, and what the next steps could look like as we roll through the final stages of this crucial draft. Craig Woodson's addition doesn't just patch a hole, it sets the tone for how the Patriots are planning to rebuild their identity on defense. Remember, under Bill Belichick, New England's defense was built on versatile, tough, smart players who could wear multiple hats. With Mike Vrabel now involved, that philosophy isn't changing. If anything, it's being sharpened. Woodson is the exact type of player who fits this mold, fast enough to cover, physical enough to hit, and smart enough to be coached into a key rotational role. One thing that jumps out, the Patriots weren't desperate to start plugging defensive holes early in the draft. That's a major shift from past years where reactionary picks were made. By waiting until the 4th round to select their first defender, the Pats sent a clear message: this rebuild is methodical, not rushed. They're building from the inside out, protecting their rookie quarterback Drake Maye first, and trusting their coaching to develop guys like Woodson over time instead of banking on instant impact rookies. Another thing to keep in mind, Kyle Duggar's injury history now plays a more significant role in shaping this defense than people might realize. The fact that Duggar played through what was thought to be a severe bone bruise, only to later discover a ligament had detached from his bone, tells you how thin the margin was last year. The Patriots simply cannot afford to go through another season where their key secondary leaders are banged up without capable backups ready to step in. That makes Woodson's developmental path even more critical. And speaking of development, let's zoom in on how Woodson can immediately contribute. Special teams. This kid has the traits to be a nightmare on punt and kickoff coverage. His burst, change of direction, and physicality are tailor-made for covering kicks and punts at a high level. Think back to how important players like Matthew Slater have been over the years. Woodson has a chance to carve out that kind of reputation early, earning his roster spot by excelling where many rookies fail to make an impression. And if you think special teams doesn't matter, remember this: how many games have the Patriots stolen over the years because of a blocked punt, a critical tackle, a heads-up recovery? This isn't just filling the bottom of the roster, it's laying the groundwork for winning the tight games, the ugly